So my first question for you, and I'm sure that this is on a lot of people's minds in the room, we've become as an industry very familiar with what you referred to as the evaluation questions more broadly. What's different? Tell us a little bit more about, this is an open book question because
Sure.
I know you've probably not memorized the entire guidance, but can you point out for us what is different in this compared to the last version that we know?
Sure, and I can give you a little bit of a sense of the genesis of this project
Sure.
as well. As a lawyer in private practice, I was familiar with the questions document. I had clients who asked us to take a look at those questions as they were evaluating their compliance programs, and some of whom were coming to the department and working on resolutions. And I thought that it was a very good starting point for how prosecutors should think about compliance. But what we wanted to do was take that very hard work a step further and organize the questions around the three questions that are contained in the corporate enforcement policy that deal with compliance programs. Mm-hmm. So is the corporation's compliance program well designed? Is the program being applied earnestly and in good faith? And does the corporation's compliance program work in practice? And so the document is focused around each of those three questions with then subparts. So for instance, in looking at whether the compliance program is well designed, there's a section that the starting analysis there is, how does a company assess risk? And we go through and we explain to prosecutors in the document why that topic and that subject is important. And then we provide them with questions, many of which are questions that came from the previous document, about how to address that question. The next part of it is, again, under the first subheading, does the company have adequate policies and procedures in place? And it gives prosecutors guidance on how to look at what the program looks like on paper and whether it's adequate on paper. And it walks through all the way to the end a framework for analyzing from a prosecutor's perspective the compliance program that they see in front of them, recognizing that we analyze compliance programs both at the time of the misconduct, as I talked about, and at the time of the resolution, because we're very much interested in seeing at resolution, so misconduct, resolution, and then in the middle is hopefully evolution of a compliance program, positive evolution. And this gives those prosecutors a framework for how to examine that, with the end goal being a better informed prosecutor who has examined a compliance program in whatever industry they see in front of them, whether it's our healthcare fraud unit doing a healthcare fraud case, or the bank integrity unit in the money laundering and asset recovery section doing a financial institution case. This gives them the guidance and framework that they need to be able to analyze the compliance program as part of the resolution, so that they can make a recommendation up the chain about how that resolution ought to look, including whether or not a monitor would be appropriate. Mm-hmm.